Hi everybody. This past year, the pandemic has caused a lot of problems for many of us, caused problems for people's mental health, had a great impact on people's mental health. People that haven't suffered before with mental health, like depression and anxiety. Throughout the year, it's just got worse over the past year. We're in this situation, a prolonged situation, and that's what's caused these problems, being in a prolonged situation. People already suffering with their mental health, added on more of an impact. People struggling, people starting to struggle because of it. The heaviness has become too much because of the intense situation we're in, not being no respite from what has been going on this past year, and sometimes that's what causes more of a problem in itself. Now, as I speak now, there are people out there at this precise moment that are struggling in some sort of way with their mental health. Like I said, depression, there's a lot of depression getting about, and anxiety with it as well. Feeling overwhelmed by it just strips you from your independence, affecting your day-to-day life. There's a lot to it. I've been in that situation myself with feeling like that. Feeling that everything I used to do, I've been stripped of, like just taken away. You start to feel inwardly how it affects you, like with your feelings, your emotions. The more it goes on, the more struggle it becomes, because you're thinking inwardly with everything. Even like the stuff that you enjoyed doing, you start to lose interest in it because it becomes harder to deal with. It just intensifies there, and we always thinking we can't do it. The more we're draining us, that we feel lacking energy because of it, trying to fight it, thinking that we can cope with it by ourselves. Sometimes you can cope with it, but sometimes it becomes to a point where the struggle, the heaviness is too much. There's too much weight there, there's too much heaviness. So you feel, sometimes you may not see that. Sometimes you need to realise it for yourself by getting to that point. And that's the sad thing about it, that's what happens with it. And like having to admitting as well, that's it, admitting that you need that extra help is a big thing. It becomes a big thing, because the reason why that is because you feel like you failed yourself. You start to doubt yourself around it. You feel angry, you feel resentment around it, because you feel that what is happening is becoming more of a struggle. So you feel like you failed yourself over it. You just feel like whatever you've done hasn't worked, and that's where you see that you realise you need that help, that extra help. But the longer it's gone on, the harder it becomes to actually admit, I can't cope, I'm struggling. Even just to say it is really hard. I know, I've been in that situation, and I've done it. What I done, I got to that point, I struggled, and I was thinking, I got to a point where I want out of this situation. I can't handle my day-to-day life continuing like this, how I'm feeling. So I got that out. how, I started to doubt myself, thinking I failed. The normal things, I failed. I thought I could do this. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes, what I'm trying to say is sometimes we need that little bit of extra help to be able to cope with it. It's courage in itself to ask for that help. And what comes along courage? Strength. So it's a sign of strength to ask for that help. It's not a sign of weakness, and that's where I want to put out to people that are in that predicament, that are feeling like that. It's not a weakness to say that you need help because you're struggling. It's strength, and that strength can get you to be able to cope with it, because that is what happens. When you get that little bit of extra help there, it enables you to be able to cope with it. What happens is it lifts that bit of heaviness down. That it takes away that bit of heaviness that is there, and once that happens, it's a bit easier to cope with. But the main thing is, whether the little bit of that extra help that you get, whether it's tablets like antidepressants tablets, you have to, with depression, or with anything like that, you have to do other things. The tablets, the antidepressants, they just help you to cope that little bit easier with it. It doesn't cure it. It's not a cure. And that's what I got told. When I went to the doctors, I got that help. I started talking about it, talking things. The doctor said, this is what happened to me. And it's sort of like, it was a bit sort of like held me back a little bit at first, but the doctor said to me, I can offer you some antidepressants. But she said, the thing is, if you have them antidepressants, you have to do other things alongside it. They're just there to help you cope. They're not a cure. You have to do other things to enable you to overcome it. What helps is, if you need that little, like I said, that little bit of extra help so you can cope with it, and then you have to do other things alongside it which will help you to overcome it. I mean, you think depression, what does it make you do? You lose interest. It's not your fault. It's not personal. It's just something that's come along and made you feel like that. So what does it do? It makes you do the opposite of what you normally would do. I mean, you think about it. Before you had the depression, maybe life wasn't too bad. Things not going too bad. You were able to do your day-to-day things. Anything that you done throughout the day, your job and everything else. All that in itself really is helping with your well-being, your mental health, by just doing things day to day. If you've done the opposite and not done nothing at all, what happens? You feel a bit rubbish within yourself. You feel a bit low. So that's what happens with depression. You tend to draw to the negative of it. You tend to lose interest in what you normally would do. That is the depression side of things. Yeah. So enable you to overcome it and get out of that situation of how you're feeling is to do things. You may think, yeah, but it's easier said than done. It is easier said than done, but it is possible. And that is the thing you have to do to get you to eliminate the depression, to improve it, and the anxiety, and to overcome it is to do something, is to start to do things for it. You know, even if it's something you make, it's all down to fear as well. You fear the stuff that you, fear is a big thing with it as well, because it's like fear steps in the way, and something that you normally would like doing, you just can't do it. You just can't do it. And all along, your energy levels drain. The more you're in that predicament, your motivation just goes, because it becomes an habit. All that, what you're feeling and what you're not doing, like you're doing the opposite and not doing, it becomes an habit, and it gets harder and harder to get out of. So it is easier to say than do. But like I said, it's not possible to do either. So I wanted to do this video specifically because there's a lot of people coming down with depression and anxiety because of this pandemic. People that haven't, suffered with it before. So I specifically wanted to do this because there's probably, like I said, even now as I'm speaking, there's probably people out there that are in a predicament that the struggle has become too much, and they're fearing and doubting whether, about asking for that extra help. We've got the capability in us to do things. We can do it. It's do the opposite. By asking for that little bit of extra help can make a big difference. It can help with overcoming and getting out of that, overcoming the depression, overcoming the anxiety, because it will enable you to cope with it a bit better, and you'll be able, and to start to do things that is going to help with it, positive things. And that's what depression is about, I know it's hard, you take small steps. You could start off with doing the opposite of what you really wanted to do and you found difficult. Maybe going out for a walk. Make it an habit. The more you do it, the more easier it gets. Make it a daily habit. Because another thing as well, what draws you in, it sucks you in, and which I learned, it's like a suction. It's like the walls. You feel like the walls are caving in at you, like suctioning in. But if you get out of that, you can breathe a bit better. You feel a bit better, and by just going out for that walk can make a difference. Getting out in that fresh air, even if it's for half hour, or just going to the shop, doing something can make a difference. But it's something that comes from you. Everything you do don't come from anybody else. Even the asking for that bit of extra help, it comes from you. It has to come from you. Finding them other coping strategies, it comes from you. So it is possible. It is possible to do. Sometimes you might not need that extra bit of help, but you may slip a little bit. It's for asking for help. It's fine. It's okay. We all need it sometimes. We all need that help. Don't beat yourself up too much, because you need that extra help. It's strength, courage, and strength. It's not a weakness. It helps you get back on that path. It'll help you get back on that path. Even for those out there that are already suffering with their mental health, and because of the prolonged situation that we're in at the moment, there may be a time where you're really struggling with it. Even though you've got them coping strategies there, it may be a time where it is becoming difficult. You too, do the same. If you need that extra help, because of it, it's fine. It's not that you failed in everything you've been doing. It's just the fact that it's become a bit heavy, and we all need that extra bit of support sometimes, especially in a situation that we're in at the moment. And like with anxiety, the worry, the fear around it, always thinking about what's going to happen next. We need to focus away. What we need to do is focus away from this situation that we're in and find things that are going to help and to focus on. We need to breathe, we need to recuperate away from the situation that we're in. And we can all do it by finding things that is going to help with our mental health and to have something to focus on. It's like a respite from it. You're not pushing it away, you're just recuperating and having positive things that you can do. You know, setting out goals, setting out a goal, that's a good one. Having a goal to look forward to, you know, that's a good one to do as well. So I'm going to end the video there and just basically say it's not a failure, it's no shame, you know, in asking for help when you need it. Sometimes it is needed. Just think of it as strength. You need strength and you need courage to actually do that, and that's what it is. It's strength and courage. It's not weakness. So please share this video because it's very important. I wanted to do this video actually because reflecting on how many people, the amount of people that are suffering with their mental health, depression, anxiety. There's a lot of it getting about. And like I said, people, as I'm doing this video now, suffering something, you know, and holding back on asking for that extra little bit of help just to get them going again, just to get them back on that right track, you know, doing something positive, because we can quite easily turn to the negative, and that's not the answer. That's not the answer, and we do sometimes find out when it's too late, when you've got to that point. So please share this video, give us a like, don't forget to subscribe as well.